Welcome to Seven Trumpets Prepper, and on this video
we're going to be taking as small as Altoid can and making a pocket stove. The materials you're going to need for these pocket sized burners: just a couple of cotton balls. This right here is soy wax. You can get a 2-pound bag for about $10 at the Hobby Lobby. This is just some cotton twine. It's just $1 at the Big Lots. Altoid cans, you want the Altoid smalls. These are $1 a can at Big Lots as well. And then you have 26 gauge zinc plated sheet metal. It's about $5–6 at Lowe's, and you can obviously make a lot of materials out of this. And what you're going to do is we use the Dremel with cutoff wheels. 10 snips are preferred because you avoid bursting wheels or jagged edges. But you will mark out your sheet metal. You're going to have top plates, and back here we cut bottom plates. I'll bring those in. This is a top plate, and this is a bottom plate. The top plates are approximately a 1/2 inch wide, and the top plates are about 3/4 of an inch. You don't want to make them more than 2 inches in length either, because they're going to fit inside of your Altoid can when you're not using it. Once you mark them out, you're going to take on your bottom plates. You can see right here where we've drawn another little hole right here. You cut that out, and what that's going to do is allow oxygen to be pulled in through the side, which you'll see when I assemble this. This is approximately what it'll look like right here, and this will be your vented hole, and then right here it can draw air under that, because these are going to be your top plate where you would set whatever you're cooking. Now what you want to do is these ones that have the holes cut in them, you're going to run them this way, because whatever bottom plate has to run like this so that it doesn't fall down inside your can, and that will give you the proper elevation and airflow, so that way your fire can get oxygen and cook whatever you've got on top of it. Now what we're going to do is take it to the stove and start the process to actually fill this to create our cooking fuel. What we've done is we took this can and you bend it so that you have a pour spout, so that you don't create a mess whenever you're trying to pour it into the Altoid can. Pour plenty of wax chips down into your can and just set it on. We've turned the stove down to one of its lower settings, that way it doesn't heat up too rapidly and burn the can up. Okay, now we're going to take a piece of our twine. All you're going to do is take it and tie a knot right near the end of it. What we're going to do with this is make us a wick. It's kind of like a priming wick to get your cooking fuel started. Once it gets started, then you don't need the wick anymore, it'll burn itself. And just tie your knot there, and what that's going to do is give you a base to make the bottom a little bit heavier. And you just hold it by the other end. I'm going to dip it down in the wax, get it coated in it pretty good. Takes this off, and then you can just take it and lay it in your Altoid can while it cools down and gets that stiffened up. And once that's done, you'll take one of your cotton balls and just kind of stretch it. You don't want to tear it apart into pieces, but just kind of stretch it and flatten it out a bit. And then you want to run a hole right through the middle of it, which I did using a wooden skewer. It takes a little effort, but you can run your hole through there. And then once your wick has dried that you've got curing on your Altoid can, you just run it through, and that knot will be right there at the bottom of it. And what that'll do is whenever you go to put this in the can, that'll help this wick to stand up. And you want to be careful not to burn yourself on these, because right now this can's pretty hot. You can take a rag or a glove. Now one thing about these small Altoid cans is you don't want to fill it up to where it pours out of these little vents, or the hinges that are in there. So I just pour a little bit in there. I'm going to take a cotton ball, the one that I've already got the wick in. I'm going to start pressing that down in there. And what that's going to do is it'll start soaking up that wax. You want to do it slow, that way you don't overfill it, because as you add the wax, you're going to let it slightly cool, and then you'll start pressing down your cotton so you can put more in around it. So what I'm doing is I'm just adding enough wax until I see it start to pull around the cotton ball that's in there. And then once I see a little bit down here in this corner that's starting to puddle, I'm going to start taking my other cotton ball, and this one you can pull into pieces, and just start pushing that down in there. Now you don't want to fill it all the way up, you want to leave a little space inside your can, that way you can actually fit your cooking grid down in there with it. What you can do is you can kind of put these in the fridge to let them cool down. As they cool, before they get rock hard, while they're still somewhat soft, you want to take a spoon or something like that and keep pressing that down in there. That way you still have good surface clearance at the top. Because what you're going to do is you'll have that grid that we've made earlier, and you'll put that down inside there to take it with you. Now once you've got that done, you're just going to take scissors, just cut the wick off, and this is what it'll look like when you've got your grid set up on top of there, and you can see where you've got your airflow slots that cut into it. And when you're in travel, you're just going to take these apart and lay them together. There you go. That's it, and you got a stove that fits in your pocket. Now we're going to take it to the field. Okay, now that we're out here, we've already lit it, and what this is doing is it's getting all your fibers going. As I said, you take your knife and you just pull up some of the fibers. What that'll do is it'll get that flame going all the way across the surface, so you have more heat surface there. We have taken our grid out and assembled that, and all you're going to do is you want your vent holes to go to the sides, and that way they lay across there and create a good bridge rather than falling down inside of it. Take canopy annas, you pop the top on them. Once you pop the top, just set them down, and what that does, it allows some heat to expand out of the can rather than building up pressure and blowing up in your face. And just set them there, and within just a few minutes, you'll be ready to go. Also, right here's our one with paper, and it's just the same as with the cotton. As once you light the wick, as it starts to burn, you may want to take a knife and kind of poke at the fibers and pick them up just a little bit to give it an edge to catch that flame, and it'll spread it out. And then you just put your grid on and you go to cooking. Just a few minutes, that'll be ready to eat. And then you can actually take the same can, as long as you don't peel the lid all the way out. Take that can and you can actually boil some water in there. And it was up to right about an hour's worth of time you can actually boil with these things. This one we did burn for about an hour and a half, and it's still got enough in there you can burn it some, but it's just about depleted, so you want to take that out and get you a new one. Now when it's time to put this out, your grid's going to be very hot. You can take your knife or the lid from your can. All you want to do is you want to flip that off of there as it cools and close that. And that contains all the smoke and everything, so if you're doing this, say late evening, you've set up a hasty shelter, you want to set that up in there, that keeps it from smoking out your shelter. And then once the flame's out and the smoke's died down, you just lift it up, let the air cool. When that's cool, you disassemble it, set your grid back inside there, close your can, you're ready to go.
So as you can see, this is a handy little item to have, and it doesn't take much to make it. So until we see you again, have a blessed day, and Yahushua name.
Pretty good.
Not bad.